I had to get out of the wind. It's cold. It's in the 40s. It's not horrible, but the wind makes it extra cold. I had to put on my fleece, but my head got too hot, which is weird. My body was cold, but my head was roasting in that beanie. So, time for some breakfast, I guess. By the time I get it cooked, I'll probably be hungry enough. The only problem with these Espit fuel tabs is it takes 2 of them to boil a pot of water, so they take a while too. Unlike a canister stove where you can just, turn the crank, light it up, boil water within 3 minutes. That is convenient. I was just thinking of saving weight, This doesn't weigh almost anything. I learned something I don't like about that campsite number 4. I think I know why she gave me number 5 instead of 4. The ranger, when she assigned me a campsite. I've seen several people come from the parking lot and hike straight down the trail into the campsites. There's a sign that clearly says these are reserved campsites, but people still view it as a hiking trail. Not a big deal, I don't care. But the trail goes straight to campsite number 4, whereas campsite number 5, it splits off and comes over this way and it's private. So number 4, I saw several people hike straight to it, climb on the tables, climb on the rocks, because the rocks are appealing. Just like I was drawn to it, other people are too. So it's probably better that I don't have campsite number 4, because I would probably have people walking almost all the way to my camp before they realize there was someone camped there and walking away. Or if I go off to do something, walking right into my campsite without me there. So the problem with camping closer to the city is you have a lot more people traffic. You have to deal with it. And today is Sunday. It's a beautiful Sunday, and it's a deceivingly beautiful Sunday. People will think, hey, let's go out to the island, have a good time, film some bison and hike around, and then they'll get out here just like yesterday. The ranger was telling me they get out here, they pay their fee. It's $10 to just get in. If you're camping, you just pay the camping fee. But if you're just coming here for the day, it's $10. And people would come here and hang out for a while, and you'd see them leave a little while later. It's too windy and cold for them. I'm having a great time despite the wind, so I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I like to go rain or shine, unless it's just pouring buckets or snowing sideways for days in a row. I typically will go out anyway. Breakfast this morning. Breakfast skillet. I'm not a fan of Mountain House eggs. They're more like Mountain House soup. If you put the recommended water in these, you end up with a soupy egg mixture. It's disgusting. So I'm going to try less water and see if it actually cooperates. This says 1.5 cups. I still think that's probably too much water. Hash browns, scrambled eggs mixed with pork sausage patty, peppers, and onions, which is better than just eggs. I don't like their eggs. We'll see what happens. And then I have a bunch of snacks in here too, but I also have some hot chocolate to warm me up this morning. All right, there we go. What was I gonna say? Awesome, I don't know. What was I gonna say? Seriously. Well, here's a nice shot of me saying nothing. I don't know what I was gonna say. Well, while we're waiting for Mr. Water to boil, This land reminds me of my childhood growing up. I grew up in a place called Taylorsville, Utah, which is it's in the center of the Salt Lake Valley, and it's right now, as it is now, it's not like it was when I lived there as a child. It's endless suburban homes and strip malls. It's an official city now, and when I lived there, it was an up-and-coming neighborhood. It was still being built, and across the street from my house was literally miles of sagebrush and grass and jackrabbits and lizards and snakes, and geez, that's all I remember trying to catch is those three things. I actually caught a jackrabbit once. It was a baby. I think it may have even been a cottontail. He couldn't quite get away from us. My friend, who's a Native American, which has nothing to do with it, but he was the one who caught the jackrabbit with his bare hands, so, you know, say what you will. I think I had something to do with it. I couldn't catch the thing. Anyway, so what would happen is directly across the street from my house was an abandoned gravel pit that's now a street, a residential street that they filled in and built houses on. I was angry when they did that. I was so mad. I remember. I was 7 years old when we moved into that house, and this gravel pit across the street was abandoned. There was an old abandoned crane and some other equipment left behind, probably from remembering that crane, that must have been the 1930s or 40s. I had no appreciation of it back then. That was just the place where the bees like to build their nest every year, and you stayed away from the crane. If you're really brave, you climbed up inside it, and I did twice. No bees, but quite frequently there were bees. Anyway, it was this huge empty gravel pit, and in the winter I would sled down the hills, and in the summer it was like this, sagebrush everywhere, very hot and dry in the summer. I would go there, and I had so many pet lizards growing up. I mean, I lived like a wild man, and that's where my love for the outdoors came from, was both hanging out there, and I was in the Boy Scouts growing up, and we went camping a lot, but I didn't really like the organized let's go camping so we can earn a merit badge thing. I just wanted to get out and do this and have fun and be in nature. So I did not become an Eagle Scout. I became the step before the Eagle Scout, which is a Life Scout. Anyway, but it did help foster my love for the outdoors growing up in that environment. So there was always camping going on growing up, not in my family, but in the Boy Scout troop. And also when I was bored all by myself, comes the wind. This was a different time era, of course. I went over there all by myself all the time and just played for literally hours. My older sisters, I was the youngest. My older sisters, I still am. My older sisters had to come find me all the time. He's probably over at that gravel pit. We just called it the pit. I'm going somewhere with this. So this feels like home to me. Laying on the ground amongst the sagebrush and the grass, it's just home to me. It feels natural and wonderful. Anyway, I'm rambling. This one summer, I went to the gravel pit with a friend of mine named Derek, and we were bored, and we had a box of Strike Anywhere matches. You can probably see where this is going. This whole gravel pit was overgrown with dry brush and sagebrush and tumbleweeds, and it was just this is like July, and I was about 11 or 12, and this Derek kid was a couple years younger than me. My mom didn't supervise me super well, so we got this box of Strike Anywhere matches, and if you know what those are like, you can literally drop a box of those matches on the ground and they'll ignite sometimes. They can literally be struck on any hard surface and they will ignite. So we're over there in the gravel pit, and there are grasshoppers everywhere. Just you walk through the field, and they just cling to your legs and jump up in the air, and they're just everywhere, and they're just, blah. One thing I never liked were the grasshoppers. So being little kids, we decided we were going to burn the grasshoppers. So my friend's job was to hold the grasshoppers. My job was to light and burn the grasshoppers while he held them. So he's holding them, and I'm all, you know, look at him crackle, look at him struggle, you know, just making these poor things suffer. They're not poor things, they're grasshoppers. I got a little too close to my friend's hand holding the match, and I touched his hand and burned him a little bit. And he went, ow, you know, like that. And the match went flying, and it landed in a cluster of sagebrush. And I just ignored it and was reaching for another match. And my friend yelled, fire. And I turned and looked, and there was some smoke coming from this sagebrush. And he goes, oh, never mind, I think it went out. And then suddenly it was like an explosion. This sagebrush just erupted in a ball of fire. And we threw rocks and dirt and everything we could onto it, trying to get it to go out. But the wind was blowing kind of like this, and not quite this strong. Surrounding this gravel pit were residential houses with their backyard fences that faced the gravel pit. Well, this fire quickly got out of control. It just took off. And so the next thing our neighbors know, there's two little kids running out of the gravel pit yelling, the pit's on fire, the pit's on fire. We ran to my house, called 911, told them we noticed the pit was on fire. So it burned probably a good, I'd say, third of the gravel pit. Fire department showed up. They got it out. People were hosing off their backyard fences to prevent becoming part of the fire. It was pretty obvious who did it when there's two little kids running from a fire yelling there's a fire. They probably lit the fire. It was not intentional, but that's the story of my life. I got in a lot of mischief growing up that I didn't mean anything bad by it, but I certainly could not stay out of trouble. If you're wondering if we got in trouble for that, everyone was suspicious, but no one could prove it. So we didn't even get a lecture from a firefighter or police officer or anything. They got the fire out, they drove off. That was it. I went back a few days later, worried because my cat at the time, his name was Skipper, and this cat would follow me like a lost dog. And he had followed me to the pit that day, and I went back worried about him, and I was calling out to him, and the place looked like a nuclear wasteland, just black. Everything burned up, and it broke my heart, really. And then my cat came jumping out of nowhere and running towards me, and I was so relieved. He was so scared he just hid there in the gravel pit the whole time. And anyway, that's my fire story. That's my experience growing up amongst the sagebrush. I think this is probably done by now. Yeah, oh yeah. It's not boiling, but it's steamy, and that's the way I like it. Oh, that's kind of thick. I may have mismeasured the cocoa. We might be having chocolate soup for breakfast. You can't really see that without me dumping it out. I got a lot of mischief stories like that. I'll have to tell more of them in the future. Yeah, that's really rich. I don't think I want to waste time boiling more water. I'll choke it down. It'll warm me up and give me energy, I guess, and diabetes. These are tiny dead brine shrimp. All of these corpses of billions of brine shrimp. So there's your sea monkeys. Look at that. Kind of snail shell. I guess something can live in there besides brine shrimp unless they did this. Isn't that crazy? It's all dead shrimp. Another one in the same box. Okay, I'm back on Ladyfinger Point, the rocks. I had to get out of the wind, so I was climbing up these rocks, trying to find a good spot like this one. And I watched a bobcat walk right across me. He saw me coming, and I just watched him walk across the rocks like a ghost. And at first I thought, oh, a coyote. And then it occurred to me he was too fat, and he had a little stubby tail, and his ears were sticking up, and he looked back at me. I was like, oh my gosh. Now that is something I have never seen on this island. I have never seen a wild cat in the wild, period. So bobcats are very shy. They'll stay away from you if they can. They don't stalk you like a mountain lion will, or like a cougar will. Anyway, so I watched as he just disappeared. Like, I tried to get my camera ready, but it wasn't already on, running, so I didn't get anything. And then I've been filming, like the clip you just saw. I've been filming these little crevices. Look at this. This is a perfect haven for an animal like that to hide out in. All these overhangs and little alcoves. So yeah, I saw an actual bobcat. I wish I'd caught it on video, but I'll tell you, even if I had, nothing compares to just seeing that in real life, in the wild, not at the zoo or whatever. It was pretty amazing. I've never encountered that. There are a lot of people watching this who probably have, but when you encounter it for the first time, it's just wow. I mean, 100 times, who cares? It's amazing to me. If I see a coyote, even though I've seen them a lot, even especially here and out in the West Desert, I'm always just like, wow, look at that thing. It's so beautiful. And anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, even though I couldn't get video of it. Pretty exciting. I just hiked all along the ridge of the Great Salt Lake, around Ladyfinger Point and back up into the rocks, heading back towards camp. I really should eat something. It might be the caffeine from this morning suppressing my appetite. So I'm going to go back and eat breakfast anyway, at least some. And then I think what we'll do is break camp, but not leave. We'll drive further into the island and see if we can spot some bison and some other wild animals at all. I don't know. I mean, I'm no nature photographer, but it sure would be neat to see some wildlife while we're here, because in a few weeks the biting gnats will be here, and it won't be worth coming here trying to photograph or film anything. So let's do that. We'll head up and over this cliff here and back to camp. And I stood out here and watched. I'll show you in a second. I stood out here and watched for that thing, and he just vanished into those rocks. He's an expert at this. Whoa. Freaking seagull. Go away. Your mama wants you. So you can see some people are walking down there, but all these rocks right here, I was coming straight up through here. And that's when he just kind of slunk through the rocks. It just disappeared. He just vanished. He was the same color as the rocks. If not for his movement, I wouldn't have even been able to see him. Anyway, camp's back this way. See, look at that. That goes way down in there. And you can see animal footprints are down in there. Probably him or her. Camp is over there. Wow. Okay, so what I did is I went back to camp. I changed my layers a bit. I got out of the fleece. It was too warm. Put on the flannel shirt. And I've decided breakfast is not going to be egg soup today. It's going to be I have these sausages. I have this candy bar. I have a breakfast biscuit thingy. And I brought my bladder of water. I figure it's only, let's see, what time is it? Who knows? It's like 9:30. I have plenty of time before checkout. So what I think I'm going to do is drive around now and then come back and clean up camp at the end. One of my least favorite things, as much as I love the outdoors, I hate packing to leave. I hate it. So I'm leaving it for last in typical procrastinatory fashion. Procrastinatory is a new word I just invented as I said it. So we're going to drive further into the island and see what we can see. There's a restaurant here that serves buffalo burgers, not processed from buffaloes off the island. They don't slaughter them and then make them here, which would be really convenient, but they don't. They come from a bison farm of some kind. Anyway, I don't know if that's open. I don't think I'll go there now, but maybe that'll be lunch instead of ramen and Spam. I don't know. I don't really have a game plan, but I want to drive around and show you some of the sights, and we'll just play it by ear. I'm tired. That was a lot of hiking, believe it or not. And I'm sorry my videos are so long. There's just so much to film here. And I will try to edit this down to be as short as possible. Let's go drive around. Okay guys, so I drove to a place called Buffalo Point. This is kind of an interpretive trail and it goes up to this hilltop. I've been there with my little boys before, but I figured this time I'd document it. It's not a horrible hike, it's pretty easy, and it has some beautiful views up there. It's gonna be windy. I keep saying it, there's nothing I can do about it. There's gonna probably be a lot of music in this video because otherwise you're just gonna hear a lot of noise. So I looked up the Buffalo Island Grill. It opens at noon. So that's going to be lunch. We're going to end this trip with a buffalo burger, which is pretty cool. Can't do that every day. So before that happens, I want to just show you around a little bit. Oh my goodness, it's windy. These poor people are getting blown all over the place. This is going to be an adventure. Way down there, I don't know if you can see it or not, but that is the White Rock campground, I believe. One of 4 campgrounds, Ladyfinger being one of them, and the other one is on the opposite side back that way. That's Bridger Bay, and that's where Joseph Shanks and I camped about a year ago. And had one heck of a time with a horrible storm. I mean, this is windy, but this was raining sideways on us. We had to jump ship. A lot of people did. Some people, it was raining so bad and blowing so hard that some people packed up their gear and what they could take and left their tent and everything behind and just left. And this one tent was totally collapsing. I'll put a link for that video down in the description. I don't know how to do. Hey, I'll put it right up here so you can click on it. It's kind of annoying to me because why would you click on a video in the middle of another video? That doesn't make sense to me. So I'll put it in the description if you want to watch that video. It's kind of a lengthy one, but it was a lot of fun. Joe and I had a good time. I'll shut up. Let's get on the trail. Bridger Bay Campground, Ladyfinger Point. We're camped right over there. Okay, my friends, we are back in the car. It is super windy out there. I'm gonna sit here and eat a couple of these and this whole thing because I, between those two hikes, have used a lot of calories. I couldn't even wear my hat because I would have lost it. So I had no hat on that hike, which left me to a lot of sun exposure and being blonde with blue eyes, what there is left of my blonde. I burn easily, so not the best, but whatever. And also the wind was blowing so hard that you could literally lean into it and it would hold you up. So that's how hard it's blowing out here, and it's just consistent. So I'm gonna sit here and charge my camera, eat some snacks, listen to some music, and when I've recharged and my camera's recharged, I'm gonna head back to camp and start wrapping things up, and then we'll go get a buffalo burger at the Buffalo Island Grill. Yay. I'm exhausted. This was a fun trip, but I'm tired. I really earned it last week at work. It's been insane. And by the way, today is my dad's birthday. He passed away a little less than a year and a half ago. So wherever you are, Dad, happy birthday. And I'm sorry you can't share a buffalo burger with me. He would have loved that. But I'll eat it in his honor. Well, my friends, that's it. I've got my pack on. So I can hike the 230 feet to the car. All cleaned up. Nothing left behind. Let's go. Okay guys, I'm back with the food. I was gonna eat in there and film in there. There's quite a few people in there and that would just be awkward and weird. So here's what we're looking at. Here are the onion rings I ordered. I added the fry sauce. Give you plenty of food. And then here's the buffalo burger, and I added the ketchup and mustard. You pay extra for everything. You pay extra for cheese, lettuce, tomatoes. Each thing costs a little extra. So this whole thing came to almost 18 bucks, but you get what you pay for. And buffalo isn't, it's not like you can just get it anywhere. So I'm gonna chow down head home and take a nice shower and a nap. Happy birthday, Dad. That's awesome. Really good. Well, my friends, thanks for joining me on another adventure. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you subscribe if you want to, if you like this video. I'm never going to ask you that at the beginning of a video because that's stupid. And ring the bell. Do yourself a favor and be notified when I have new videos. I really appreciate those of you that stuck by me. I wasn't on a lot last year, but I am now. Thank you, my friends, for staying with me. Do yourselves a favor. Get off the couch. Get outside and have some fun. The views are spectacular. Well, my friends, thank you for joining me on another. Well, my friends, thanks for. Holy shit.